Hello everybody, this is Jim and I live in Texas, and in the face of overwhelming viewer demand, well, in the case of one guy who asked about it, my hardcore fan noticed that I have a new white car in the driveway in the last video or two. So I chatted with him. It's a 2014 Honda Accord EXL, and he asked me for a review of it. And actually he asked at a convenient time because I just got back from a trip from Austin to Peoria, Illinois, hence the bug patina there, because I literally just got back yesterday afternoon. I drove at 2,159.7 miles, and I thought this would be a good time to review it. Let me give you a little Jim Howard backstory on my cars. Sitting over there is really in a lot of ways my favorite car that I've ever had, which is my 2000 Ford Explorer. It's a two-door sport. It's got 220 some odd thousand miles on it now. It's 15 years old. I bought it new. I love that car. It's super powerful. It'll tow anything. It's compact and easy to maneuver. The only problem with it is it just eats gas like there's no tomorrow. It's never had a serious mechanical issue ever. So I guess 3 years ago, the gas to commute was killing me because my office moved from about 5 miles away to 22 miles away. So I wound up driving at 50 to 70 miles each day, and I was just sucking Saudi Arabia driving that car. So I got one of the very first 2012, new generation Ford Focuses, and that car was okay. Unlike this car, I've never had a serious mechanical problem with that. The interior has held together pretty well. It's reasonably comfortable, I think. So the seat belt mechanism is kind of clunky, but other than that, it's fine. My wife didn't like riding in it. In fact, my wife never liked any car I ever bought in terms of rider comfort for whatever reason. But in any case, that was a pretty good car, so I was happy buying the Focus. The Focus was a pretty good car, but it came with a serious flaw initially. The transmission was horrible. It had a 6-speed dual clutch transmission, computer controlled. Actually worked somewhat similar to what's in my my Yamaha FJR, but unlike the FJR, it was poorly implemented, and the transmission acted like it had a student driver in it who'd never shifted a manual before. It would lug, sometimes it would just go into neutral. It was horrible. And I hated that car for about the first year, and then Ford sent me a letter, said, basically it said, we're sorry we gave you that sucky transmission. We're going to extend the warranty to 100,000 miles. I'd already bought the extended warranty, and come into your Ford dealer and get a new transmission. The new transmission was fine. Worked great after that, so they fixed that problem to their credit. It kept getting little check engine lights and had little things like I had several problems with the cruise control. So I was a little disappointed in the overall quality of it. And it was a good commuter car, and I would have kept it for a long time, except that I was parked at a stoplight 2 or 3 months ago, I guess about 3 or 4 months ago now, waiting to turn left onto a busy road from a side street. A little girl, 16 years old, first day of driving her new Fiat 500, turned left into heavy traffic against a red light. A pickup truck, a big black one, I think it's a Chevy F-150, what is that, 2500 or something? A Chevy F-150, the poor guy tried to dodge her. He hit her kind of a glancing blow. Her car attached to his, and both of them crashed into my Focus. Good news is nobody was hurt. My Focus just died protecting me. The whole front end crumbled up, just like you see in the pictures. So I wound up, that car was totaled, and I really didn't miss it. In only 3 years, I'd put 78,000 miles on it, so it was already pretty far along. And the insurance company gave me a fair settlement. I decided I didn't want to buy another Focus, so I was looking at compacts, Civics, Sentras I've owned before, which were good cars. I was looking at imported compacts, and my wife said, Jim, this is the last chance you will get to buy a nice car that we can take on long trips and be real happy with. I don't want you to buy another compact. I want you to buy a sedan, because the next bigger size is what she said, a sedan, and I want you to get one that she didn't say this in so many words, but she made it clear. I want you to get one that I'm comfortable riding in. So we looked and looked, narrowed it down to a Camry or a Accord. I like the Fusion a lot because I love the Ford radios, but I still had nagging doubts about the quality experience I'd had with the Focus. Again, I like the quality of my Explorer. That's a lifetime car. I'm never selling it. So Ford can make a good quality car. But in the case of the Focus, they made a basic good design and they just had little bugs in it that I didn't like. So I said I'll try and import this time. We wound up after test driving the Camry, the Chevy Volt, which I really loved, but my wife hated it. If it was just me, this would be a Volt. But this is a lot more practical. I have a lot of grandkids now, or at least a couple of them, and 2 or 3, I've lost count, and this car seats fits in there nice. So I didn't like the instrument panel layout on the Camry, so I got this. Now this is an EXL model. Every Honda dealer has millions of certified used base model Accords, which are nice cars. And they're called LX version. But we really we were big into interior comfort and quality. So we test drive a Civic version with the high interior, really liked it. Of course, we didn't want a Civic, it's too small. So I shopped around and I found out that the high-end Honda is the EXL model. There's EXL and EXL with nav. I didn't care about the nav because I use a phone for my navigation. So I wound up getting this. I had to go to Houston to get it. Pro tip for those of you who live in Central Texas, cars in Houston are about $1,000 or $1,500 cheaper than the same car here. We found one EXL here, certified used, with about 15 or 20,000 miles. We got this one, and I forget the exact price, but this one, which came certified used, less than a year old, 7,500 miles, was like $2,000 cheaper when we got to the bottom line. So it was worth it to go to Houston to get this car. It's a 185 horsepower inline Ford engine. It's not going to smoke the tires or anything, but it'll get you down the road just fine. Very smooth running. The transmission is perfect. This has the keyless entry, so I just walk up to it and I touch it and it beeps and it'll let me in. The interior was very important to us, and it came with an excellent interior, leather, perforated leather. I'm trying to take real good care of it. It has something that we like a lot, which is the memory seat. I know a lot of cars have these. It's been around a long time, but it's the first one we've ever had. So seat number 1 is me, seat number 2 is Pat, my wife. So we can each get it. We don't have to glare at the other person. If you drove my car and you messed the seat up, let's sit in it. Fit and finish is excellent. On my Focus, I hadn't owned it very long until this little thing here tore. This door liner tore. That just made me mad. And of course they say, well, that's a wear and tear item. We'll have to pay $150 to fix it. So I just glued it together. But that's the little quality things I think are better on the Honda than at least that Ford Focus I had. Hopefully their higher end cars come with better quality. But really, there's no reason to have a different quality level for your cars. Just if you want to sell the cheaper ones, take stuff off of it. Really nice interior. Seats very comfortable. 2,159 point something miles over the last 3 days or 4 days, 3.5 days of the actual trip. No back problems, none at all. I get out I don't drive for more than about 100 miles or 150 miles before I get out and walk around, and I find that makes the trip pretty comfortable and takes care of my little tiny bladder. Really good fit and finish. Cup holders, really excellent. I pretty much can't drive without a Route 44 Sonic Diet Coke, or actually Coke Zero now since I'm cutting down on caffeine. But these cup holders have little spring-loaded tabs in them that help hold the thing secure without making it so tight that the styrofoam breaks in your hand and floods your car. Really, really nice in that respect. Better even than my wife's new Chrysler Town and Country van, which is boasts the best cup holders in America, and 22 of them or something like that. Really excellent cup holders. Important to me. I'm sorry, that's pathetic, but there it is. One thing that was great about the Focus, and one of the big reasons I bought it, it had that Ford Sync, Microsoft Sync system, which doesn't have a touchscreen, but worked perfectly. It grabbed on the iPhone. By the time the engine started, your music was playing. It spoke perfect iPhone and never got confused. It had no bugs. It worked perfectly. It also had a little bit more in the way of hands-on wheel controls than this car. You could do it. It had a few more. It had particularly the just a better ergonomic setup here, and a lot more functions on the steering wheel, which I like. Maybe not everybody would like that. So that was an advantage of the Focus over this. This has, of course, the red start button, which takes a little getting used to, but I'm starting to like it now. At first I was a little skeptical of it. Now, notice I just turned the car on. There's a podcast in there. No device connected. We're gonna have to wait, like, it seems like an hour. Okay, it's probably, we'll time it, but it's probably 20 or 30 seconds. My Focus would have already played a whole chapter of the podcast by now. Wait, no device connected. There really is a device connected. Okay, finally the podcast comes on.
Nobody wants to pay for anything.
That's a Leo Laporte podcast. Now I'll hit pause and it'll keep playing for like 3 or 4 seconds, which is irritating. Worse than that, this display is buggy. If you notice that device not connected, sometimes it'll connect, but it won't shift off of that screen, and then you can't see any other screen. Honda, this software is not Honda quality software. This is Yugo quality software, really. The actual audio system is pretty good. It's for, you know, a high-end car. It's probably, I think, the Ford Fusion had a much better audio system with its higher end trim levels than this. I mean, really noticeably better. This is adequate, particularly since I mostly listen to spoken word and some music, but mostly spoken word. It's fine for me. I would say if you're an audiophile, you may be disappointed in the Honda system. And again, this is, I think, their top of the line audio. It's got a display that's kind of fun. You know, it's got several ones you can choose from. I use the one that shows me how much range I got. This car gets tremendous range. It has over 600 miles of range if you're driving on the interstate with a full tank of gas. I tracked the mileage for most of the legs on my 2,000, 2,100 mile trip. On Texas interstates where you can go 75, I was getting 38.5 to 38.7 or something like that. On Arkansas and Missouri and Illinois, where the limits are 65 or 70, I got as high as 39.8. And with the 17 gallons, you can go 600 miles. I didn't press it that far, but easily go 550 miles with plenty of reserve. That's one of the nicest features about this car. Seats extremely comfortable, power seats on both sides. It's got, I think, like most cars, it's got the buckles and clips for child safety seats in there. This has a moonroof. I don't know why people get these. The only reason I use it when I stop at Sonic for breakfast, which I do every morning in the work week. I turn the car off and I can open this a crack, lower the windows, and it creates kind of a chimney effect, so air circulates in here better on these hot days, a little more comfortable. I don't like the fact that because I have a moonroof, the dome lights have to be there where they shine into your eyes. I don't like that. Also, I didn't get, I think it's optional somewhere, I didn't get the built-in garage door opener. One thing I do like about it is the backup camera. I'll talk about the cameras in this car, it's quite interesting, but if you look close, the backup camera is predictive. I know a lot of cars have this, American and imports. I'd never had a car that had predictive backup. My wife's car has, Chrysler has a backup camera, but it doesn't predict where you're going to go. It just has straight lines no matter where you put the steering wheel. I feel like an animal when I back that car up. The predictive backup is so nice. There are 3 cameras in this car. There's a rear-facing camera. There's a camera in that right mirror, so that when you turn the right turn signal on, you see the view in your blind spot. Or you can push a button over here and you can see the blind spot all the time. So that's pretty cute. There's also a camera up here in this mirror assembly. And these 3 cameras are used for the lane departure warning system. This is like an intermediate evolutionary step in cars. This will not drive the car, but it will beep at you if you turn that on, and I usually leave it on. If you turn that on, it'll drift out of the, if you drift out of the lane, it'll start to beep. It's looking for the stripes on either side of you, and it works pretty well. It's also got a crash sensor that sets off a big yellow set of LEDs there on the dashboard. If it thinks you're about to crash into something in front of you, that will go off. It will not stop the car. If this was a Tesla with the latest software load, it will actually stay in the lane on its own. It will actually follow the car in front of you without you doing anything. You can literally sit there with your hands off the wheel on the interstate and the Tesla will just take care of you. This doesn't quite do that, but it's a step on the way. And I do like that. It's got pretty reasonable display, several different displays like most cars do there, pretty readable. That's good. It's got a nice big glove box. It's got a pretty decent thing here. It's got a cigarette lighter thing in there. It's got a USB port. It's got another cigarette lighter thing there. And I don't know, yeah, that's just the door. I really like the car. Again, for driving from Austin to Peoria in 3 days and back in 3 or 3.5 days, it's the cat's meow. I do like the dual zone air conditioner, which I think all of them have. If you have somebody, a spouse, I tell you what, if you're opposite gender biologically from your partner, you don't want this. You want this dual zone. Trust me on this. This will save your relationship. It makes it a lot more pleasant to ride with my wife because I like it a little bit warmer than she does, and I think that's pretty typical. So you can desync them, and she can set it down to like 60, and I can set it up to 80, and we're both happy. Anyway, that's the 2014 Honda EXL trim level. Oh, also it's got a rear air conditioner back there, which is nice for the rear passengers. Really nice thing, and I don't think the lower trim levels have that. Anyway, this is my car. I paid more than I should have for a car. This is not that it's not worth it. It was worth every penny. But it's the last good car I'll probably ever own. So I like it. This is Jim in Texas. Hope my fan found this review helpful.